is coming up.
Hey guys,
about,
14 here.
From now.
Watching
From
up
left to
the
right is
undocking of
Russian
ATV-5.
cosmonaut Elena Serova, the Expedition 42 commander Barry Wilmore of NASA, Alexander Samokhutyaev of the Russian Federal Space Agency, and then on the right, Anton Shkaplerov, the other Russian cosmonaut on board the station at the moment, NASA astronaut Terry Virts, and on the far right, European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti. Wilmore and Virts, by the way, are in the final week of preparations for the first of 3 spacewalks that they will conduct starting on Friday, February 20th, a trio of spacewalks that will begin to rig cables and deploy communications equipment on the International Space Station for the arrival of new international docking ports called International Docking Adapters, or IDAs. They will be eventually installed on pressurized mating adapters 2 and 3 on the International Space Station that will inaugurate the dawn of the era of U.S. commercial crew vehicles that will begin launching on Boeing and SpaceX crew vehicles, additional crews to the International Space Station in the years ahead. All of that spacewalk activity scheduled to begin this coming Friday, February 20th.
Okay.
The flight control team in Toulouse, France, there at the ATV Control Center, will begin to send commands about 10 minutes or so from now that will begin the process of opening up the hooks at the docking interface at the aft end of the Zvezda service module that have held the automated transfer vehicle, the Georges Lemaitre, in place since it arrived back on August 12th of last year. It takes about 1.5 to 2 minutes for those hooks to fully open, and then springs on both sides of the docking interface at the Zvezda service module will push off against one another to create an opening rate, enabling the ATV to physically separate from the Zvezda service module and begin to back away from its docking port. 1 minute after physical separation, the thrusters on the ATV will fire in a 4 meter per second opening departure maneuver, as it is called, to accelerate the opening rate between Georges Lemaitre and the International Space Station and send it on its way for a station-keeping point, initially some 700 miles away from the station, where the first of the 2 deorbit burns on Sunday will be executed. That will lower the altitude of the ATV to a much lower altitude for the second and final deorbit burn that will occur on Sunday at a position some 1,700 or so miles away from the International Space Station. By the way, the time of those 2 deorbit burns on Sunday are 8:29 a.m. Central Time and 11:26 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. 2 burns to send the ATV out of orbit for its destructive re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere and its breakup over the Pacific Ocean. Entry interface where it will reach the first discernible traces of the atmosphere and begin its breakup is scheduled at about 12:12 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. It is expected that the International Space Station crew may be able to see a smoke trail from its vantage point at an altitude of some 257 miles above the Earth, and they've been instructed to use any imagery assets available to them, still cameras and video cameras, to try to capture that smoke trail of the ATV as it enters the atmosphere for the final time.
De nem bírom, mert nem olyan hosszú.
Újraindítod, én is kétszer indítottam.
Tehát majd
The International Space Station at the moment is flying at an inclination of 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, moving from southwest to northeast, crossing the border between Russia and western Kazakhstan, not far from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where again the Progress 58 launch vehicle, resupply vehicle, is being prepared for its launch on Tuesday morning. We're about 8 minutes away from the command to open up the hooks holding the automated transfer vehicle to the aft end of the Zvezda service module. We've also come into data, telemetry, and video contact over Russian ground stations. We will have both U.S. KU band downlink television capability and Russian ground station capability for video at the time of undocking, which is scheduled at 7:40 a.m. Central Time.